Working principle of flow amplification valve. In the steering hydraulic system of medium and large loaders, a flow amplification valve is used. It is installed between the steering gear and the steering cylinder. It has the characteristics of high working efficiency and light steering control. If the steering gear is compared to the pilot valve of the working system, then the flow amplification valve is similar to the multi-way reversing valve of the working system, so that we can better understand its working principle. The steering gear pushes open the valve core of the flow amplification valve through oil pressure, and the oil from the steering pump enters the steering cylinder through the valve body to realize the steering function of the loader. The flow amplification valve is mainly composed of a valve body, a front cover, a back cover, an amplification valve core, a diverter valve core, a safety valve and a shuttle valve. After the engine is started, the steering gear does not work, there is no oil pressure in the steering control ports A and B, the amplification valve core is in the neutral position, and the working oil chamber AB is in a closed state. Oil enters from the oil inlet P and enters the oil chamber on the left side of the valve core through the throttling hole at the left end of the diverter valve core. The pressure of the hydraulic oil overcomes the elastic force of the spring and pushes the diverter valve spool to the right. The hydraulic oil flows to the working hydraulic system through the PF port, and merges with the hydraulic oil of the hydraulic system itself to complete the work of the working hydraulic system. When the steering wheel rotates, the hydraulic oil from the steering gear enters the control oil port A, and the amplification valve spool moves to the right against the tension of the spring. The hydraulic oil from the steering pump flows out from the working port A through the oil inlet P and the valve core, and enters the steering cylinder to push the cylinder to move, thereby enabling the loader to achieve the steering function. At the same time, the hydraulic oil opens the shuttle valve after passing through the oil circuit on the valve body, and enters the common oil channel at the right end of the diverter valve core and the left end of the safety valve. When external force increases the pressure in the steering cylinder, the pressure is transmitted to the common oil channel through the shuttle valve, pushing the diverter valve spool to move to the left. The flow of oil to the working system will be reduced, so that the flow of hydraulic oil in the steering system can be prioritized. The spool of the diverter valve moves left or right according to the pressure difference between the hydraulic oil in the left and right oil circuits, thereby keeping the pressure difference acting on the spool of the diverter valve unchanged. Ensure that the steering speed is not affected by external load and engine speed, and is only controlled by the steering wheel speed. When an external force acts on the steering wheel, the pressure in a certain oil circuit of the steering cylinder will increase. This pressure will be transmitted to the closed oil circuit A or B, and then act on the safety valve through the oil circuit and shuttle valve, causing it to open and unload the high pressure instantaneously generated in the oil circuit. This will protect hydraulic components such as the steering cylinder and ensure that the vehicle continues to maintain its original driving condition.